Hi, this is Carl Palchuk with Small Biz Thoughts, and this is another SOP video for managed service providers. Today I want to talk about a great book called First Things First by Covey and a crew of others. And one of the most important pieces of this book is his emphasis on priorities. Let's take a look at how you can divide up your day into the two factors that make the most difference in what you should be doing. Covey, along with Roger and Rebecca Merrill, devised this nice little chart where you divide the world into what's urgent and what's not urgent, and then what's important and what's not important. And most of us spend too much of our time dealing with things that are urgent but not important. Your day should only focus on the things that are important, no matter what, and in a perfect world, you will focus your time on things that are not urgent. So your golden quadrant is going to be things that are important but not urgent. Too often in the world of IT consulting, we spend all of our time planning our entire business around things that are important and urgent. Servers crashing, hard drives failing, clients getting infections, that sort of thing. But the reality is you should not build your business around that quadrant. That urgent, important quadrant, things happen, but they mostly happen in that quadrant in a way that's unexpected. You can decide how you're going to respond to an emergency. We all know what we're going to do if there's a fire alarm. We all know what we're going to do if somebody calls and there's a problem with your kid at school. So in business, you know that servers are going to fail. You can plan for that. You know that viruses are going to happen, and you can plan an organized response for that. So even if things show up urgently, you can deal with them in a way that is not dominated by the concept of urgency. In other words, you can have a rational response to an urgent situation. I was chatting with somebody just the other day who was telling me that a client had a problem and he had to rebuild the drive array and so forth and so on. And anyway, his story was about why he didn't make his 8 phone calls to try to get new sales that day. Well, it turns out, I asked him, so how long did it take for that array to get rebuilt and to be put back into the client's office? Well, guess what? It turned out to be about 72 hours. And I'm telling you, somewhere in that 72 hours, there was time to stop and make those 8 sales phone calls. In this quadrant where things are important but not urgent, that's where all the juicy profit happens in your company. That's where you build relationships. That's where you sit down and have roadmap meetings with clients. That's where you do employee evaluations. That's where you figure out where your company's going to be going in the next 3, 6, 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, right? All of that takes place in the important but not urgent quadrant. Too often we deal with emergencies as if that's the norm in our business. It should not be the norm in the business. If you have a server failing every single day and you build your business around that, you probably need to change to a different line of work because you're not a very good computer consultant. You need to figure out how you're going to put small emergencies off into the quadrant where they belong, but spend most of your time in the non-urgent part of the quadrant. And that stuff that's unimportant and not urgent, stop doing it, period. Just stop doing it. We have urgent requests all the time. The phone rings, we think we have to answer it. But you don't, right? There's lots of things you can do where you can ignore the urgency until you determine whether or not it's important. People will urgently knock on your door, phone your phone, walk into your office, always ask for your attention. Outlook will go beep and tweet and Twitter and all kinds of other stuff. And you don't know it's important until you take a look at it. So you need to figure out processes for filtering that before you give it part of your very, very important attention. Something to chew on. In the meantime, go get the book, read it this weekend. It's a spectacular book. This is Carl Palchuk from Small Biz Thoughts, wishing you all the luck in your managed service business. And I want you to know I'm not playing games with this one.